presiding official, which is me, to enforce the rules of decorum. All persons attending City Council meeting shall listen carefully and attentively to all public discussions at the meeting and avoid interrupting members of the public addressing the City Council or city officials. Members of the public shall address the City Council regarding items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction and shall refrain from personal attack upon individual council members if the comments are not within the subject matter jurisdiction.
Kính thưa các bạn đang xem trực tiếp cuộc họp tại thành phố Westminster hôm nay ngày 24 tháng 5. Hôm nay thì có ông giám sát viên Andrew đổ ra để trình bày cái dự án là xây một cái cổng tại đường Bolsa về đi vào thành phố, cái đường Bolsa thành phố Westminster với một cái dự án cổng giống như cái cổng á bạn, cái bạn cổng vào á, hình dáng đó là khoảng triệu mấy đô á. Đây là cũng là một cơ hội để kiếm tiền các bạn.
The mayor presiding official, which is me, shall issue an official and order warning for that person to cease the offending conduct. Now, if all fails, then you may ask to leave the City Council chambers because we have business to conduct. Now, in addition to that, please be mindful that we have kids and students who probably watching City Council over Zoom or via online. Then we need you to be cognizant about, their attendance and make sure that we refrain from using profanity language, which I don't know. I think that nobody wants to have their children listen to that kind of language. So I would like to ask you, please refrain from that kind of language. With that, I'd like to open oral communication. Please call the first public.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first speaker is Chris McCarver with Branded Cities.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. My name is Chris McCarver. I'm with Branded Cities. Our corporate office address is 2850 East Camelback Road in Phoenix, Arizona. I just wanted to speak very quickly on one of the agenda items. We are very interested in the RFP that was issued in December of 2022 for the construction and operation of 2 double-faced outdoor advertising signs along I-405. Branded Cities is a company that specializes in iconic signs and iconic locations. We are known in the outdoor advertising industry as the quote-unquote go-to company for iconic one-of-a-kind displays. Without a doubt, these signs that are being contemplated along 405 certainly fit that description, and we're very excited to be considered for this project. A lot of information can be found on our website, but I wanted to just highlight a couple of things in just a minute here. Number one, we're a full-service sign company. We have sales, graphic design, content management, real estate, permitting, and accounting. I've been in the outdoor industry for 31 years. All of those 31 years have been in real estate and public affairs. It's the company's style to carry a project from inception through construction, sales, and management. I attend meetings, interface with constituents, collaborate with city staff and officials to bring opportunities to fruition. And if awarded this opportunity, I would do the same here in Westminster.
Một số
khách mời được lên để chia sẻ những cái dự án chưa thấy những người dân ở Việt Nam, những người gốc Việt lên góp ý nha các bạn. The proposed signs are standalone signs that will be sold to maximize their individual value. Unlike other companies, we do not package the inventory with other inventory of a lesser value. We do not use these proposed signs to quote-unquote prop up other inventory that either has visibility issues or lower traffic counts. Number 3, service and the desire to maintain a high standard for our inventory is very important to branded cities. All of our warrantied work, the people that we work with to go out and deal with any sort of repair and maintenance issues, from the time that we call them, the agreement that we have with all of our contractors is that they have to be out on site within 4 hours to maintain the advertising signs. And lastly, this, a lot of people kind of consider this a bit of an intangible. I consider this, however, though, a very tangible thing that I just wanted to raise. The city staff here has been leaning forward and sorry.
I'm sorry, the 3 minutes is up.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Danny Meza.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I want to talk about Dorothy Lane right behind the trailer park. I spoke with Amy Van West, who lives in the trailer homes right there. We have RVs, homeless, drugs, people just partying there all night. And I wish there'd be more enforcement throughout the city because it's starting to just get worse and worse. And we're trying to make Westminster a better place, and it is a great place. But
đây là một cư dân lên góp ý vấn đề có quá nhiều người người vô gia cư sống ở những cái khu vực mà không thể họ cảm thấy không có an toàn và cần có nhiều những người cảnh sát để đi tuần tra.
And I just wish that would be addressed a little bit more. The other part was it's in regards to Amy Van West with Title 42, the study she's bringing up. I think it's a waste of taxpayer money. It has nothing to do with on a local level, and District 1 needs a lot of help, and I wish that would just be addressed, not Title 42, because it has nothing to do with Westminster. That's a federal issue, not a local issue, and I wish that would just be addressed on the federal level. And I don't appreciate
thành phố Westminster cũng cái nạn vô gia cư, cũng rất là nhiều người vô gia cư ở đây và cũng từ những cái vùng khác đến, đã nên một cái mức độ bất ổn mà những người dân đây là những cư dân lên phàn nàn về vấn đề vô gia cư ở thành phố Westminster.
That's just not the way to treat the people who you represent in your district. And I just wanted to throw my 2 cents into that. Wanted to show my daughter what the civics is for the city. And I just want to have an open dialogue with people who represent my district and not have my intelligence or have her try to insult my intelligence. But I would like to speak with her. I do thank you for taking the time to speak with me 2 weeks ago. We had a very good conversation about a lot of topics. But I want to bring up also the dispensary issue for recreational marijuana. What is your stance on that, Amy? I mean, it would be in District 1. I'm for it. It's going to be taxed. It's more money for the city. And we have quite a few bars up and down Westminster Boulevard and in that area. And I don't see how this would impact the city anymore versus just bringing in tax revenue. Nobody's going to be sitting there smoking pot and driving around. Most people are going to get what they're going to get and go home. People go to bars, sit there, get drunk, drive, and endanger all these other people. And those are just a few of the issues I wanted to bring up. I don't want to take up too much more of the time, but I just want to say thank you to everybody for doing what you're doing with the city and just trying to make everything better because things are going down all around. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming out and express your opinions and ideas. And I'm sure that for the safety, the security of your area, staff will work with you on that to make sure that we close the gap. Thank you very much. Next, if you
want me to address some of this stuff?
It's up to you if you want to have a brief comment about this or no. Otherwise, we can save it at the end.
Yeah, so Danny, I really appreciate that. We had a good conversation in the last 2 weeks ago. I'm happy you called. And I know that you had misunderstanding, you want clarification. So you heard it from the horse mouth. And I appreciate you do that because not a lot of residents do that, but I appreciate you doing it. So you heard where I stand on different issues. This is the first time you bring up other issues, but just to address the homeless situation with the RVs, I've been working closely with the chief of police as well, and the resident of the city of Westminster. They message me on my government page and I do address it. And each time they message me on the government page, I do it, you know, and I contact staff from potholes to homeless situation, I do it. And staff can testify to it. So if other questions you have, I'll be more than happy to address. Just give me a call or message me on the government page and I'll call you back. Okay?
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Courtney
Vấn
Dorney
đề
with
một người dân
Flags
cư dân
Adoption.
ở thành phố Westminster phàn nàn về vấn đề vô gia cư là may gây bất ổn ở cái nơi khu của người này sống và họ cần nhiều lực
Hello.
lượng
Thank you,
cảnh sát
City
để
Council members.
tuần tra.
Mayor, Commander Weber was here, and the chief was here. I wanted to say thank you to them as well for allowing me to speak to you tonight. It has been an amazing 12 years, and we are honored to provide the city of Westminster with the high-quality animal care services that WAGS is known for. We enjoy being an integral part, an important part of Westminster's services to its citizens. I thought I would take a minute to update you, since there are a few new faces up here since the last time I was at this podium. So just a couple of stats, just to help you guys out. The first one is that WAGS has adopted out just under 30,000 pets since 2011. Those are Westminster and Stanton animals that are coming into our building. Last year's adoption number was just under 1,500, and so far in 2023, we have proudly adopted over 300 pets, and we're hopeful to exceed last year's numbers. We have sent over 1,600 dogs, cats, and kittens into foster care since January 1st of 2022, which has not only helped us save more lives, but allowed us to focus on the more critical cases within our shelter. Being able to lean on the support of our community has really made WAGS what it is today. We have roughly 150 active volunteers and foster families that are combined. Because of them, we are able to get help with laundry, donations of food, animal care, yard cleanup, social media shares, and pet detectives that are helping us reunite lost pets with their owners. We know that we are asking for an increase of our base, but this is not only to be able to continue our beneficial programs, but also, and most importantly, to provide care for what we think will be a grand total of intakes of over 3,200 pets by the end of 2023. To put some perspective on this, our previous yearly intake numbers have been between 2,500 and 3,000. So it's definitely going to be an increase this year if the trend follows how it's been so far. We are available for questions. Michelle, our CEO, is here with me as well, and would be honored to give any of you tours of our facility so that we can show you what we and your citizens are so proud of. Thank you.
Một người dân nói về chương trình này, những chương trình mà chăm sóc cho
Our
những
next
thú nuôi mà
speaker
bị bỏ
is
rơi.
Victoria Kim Cooper.
Chưa có những người gốc Việt nên chia sẻ các bạn. Đây là bà Kim Thành và ông Khải Đào sẽ là người lên thông dịch viên.
I am Victoria Cooper.
Her name is
Last name
Victoria.
Last name Cooper.
Đây là bà Kim Thành, một cư dân cũng
Việt
ở
Nam,
thành phố
President
Westminster, và
Hero.
ông Khải Đào sẽ là người viên dịch.
Yeah. Và tôi hôm nay tôi nhắc lại một lần nữa, thị trưởng Mạnh Trí hãy tôn trọng sự thật. Nếu mà City Hall mời Andy Cục Đổ đến đây để nói chuyện cho hội đồng thành phố nghe, thì đừng có cho chúng tôi nghe, mà chúng tôi chỉ cần có hỏi một câu thôi là cái tên Gavin Newsom nó chấn lột tiền thuế của người dân Mỹ của chúng tôi cả tỷ đô, mấy tỷ đô để mua cái trò mà ông chó cái mát, mà bao nhiêu là cái hóa chất của tàu chệt để mà nó đem nó bắt người dân Mỹ chúng tôi trở thành những con chó cẩu chệt lừa.
She said she wants Mr. Mayor Charlie to be honest, to be straightforward. If you gonna invite Supervisor Andrew Doe to come here to speak to the council, she prefers you to invite him to speak to you guys. She doesn't want to listen to him. She says she's more concerned with other issues.
But my name là Victoria Kim Cooper, không phải là Bùi Kim Thành. Mà tại sao thị trưởng mà không nói được một cái tên đúng của cử tri của mình, thâm thù cái tên của tôi?
She said, why couldn't you mention her by her name, Victoria Cooper, and why you hated her name?
Tôi muốn hỏi một câu với Andy Cục Đỏ thôi, phải có trách nhiệm với tiền thuế của người dân, không thể trắng lột tiền thuế của người dân để mà đem đi bảo kê cho đồng bọn, rồi coi ngay tại thành phố Westminster này mà lại trở thành ra là một bầy mà đảng phái mà phe nhóm với nhau để mà coi như trấn lột tiền thuế của người dân Mỹ chúng tôi.
She said she's very angry with Supervisor Andrew Doe. She said he is responsible and should be responsible to manage the county's fund, public fund. Instead, she said he's embezzlement. I don't know if I can use the word embezzle, but he mishandled the fund to enrich, to profit his self-interest group, self-serving, only to benefit among his groups, his luckies, including you guys.
Tôi đến đây để mà nói sự thật, để bảo vệ cái luật pháp và hiến pháp nước Mỹ năm 1776 đang vẫn còn là hiệu nghiệm, và tôi đến đây để đòi lại cái chiến thắng long trời lở đất ngày 3 tháng 11 năm 2020 của người dân Mỹ. Chúng tôi đã vote cho Tổng thống Donald Trump trong in a landslide November 3rd, 2020 up to now.
She said she's here to protect the Constitution established in 1776, also the victory of former President Trump.
Và hiện nay là tổng thống của nước Mỹ đang là Tổng thống Donald Trump 45, 46, 47 và up to trong win 2024, không phải là cái bà thằng Sleepy Joe Biden mà tội đồ, phản quốc của đảng Dân Chủ tội đồ.
To her, her president still President Donald Trump, 45, 46, 47.
Bạn Danny, đây là cái phần lắng nghe từ cư dân trong thành phố và
đồng hành với người dân của chúng tôi,
những người trong thành phố không có trả lời bây giờ. Có lẽ là cho tất cả những người
Việt Nam
cư dân
nó đem
phát biểu rồi họ sẽ trả lời.
Nó đem nó buôn lậu ma túy, mà xong rồi nó đem nó được tha bổng, trong khi là ở tại nước Mỹ này thằng Sleepy Joe nó phá nát biên giới, nó đem nó đưa heroin, fentanyl vô trong nước Mỹ này để giết người dân Mỹ chúng tôi. Mà bao nhiêu là tiền mà coi như là nó giết người dân Mỹ chúng tôi. Mà trong này là những người là công dân Mỹ mà lại là đồng bọn của City Hall này, của thị trưởng Trí Tạ được quyền của Mạnh Trí thì được quyền là chửi bới nghị viên Kim Ly Hồ hay là cựu cảnh sát nghị viên Tài Đỗ đã dám ngăn cản cái tội ác chống lột tiền thuế của người dân chúng tôi để chia chác nhau tiền cúm Vũ Hán, Corona, China, mà anh đi đổ là phải có trách nhiệm, chứ không phải là để mà trấn lột. Mà hiện nay có một số kẻ đã bị tù rồi, cho nên tôi đã kiện thằng Sleepy Joe, thằng Gavin Newsom 1 tỷ đô vì cái tội ác nó trấn lột tiền thuế người dân Mỹ. Nó mua cái loại mẫm chó, nó bắt người dân Mỹ tôi đi ra ngoài đường phải cover cái miệng lại là chó đi hai chân, đó là tội ác.
She said she's grateful to the police, Westminster Police Department, protecting our citizens and serving the public, but she's, I'm sorry, I have to use word condemning the people that's siding with the communist Vietnam and the people that's mismanaging the city's fund to enrich themselves.
Dạ, và thị trưởng Liên Hợp Bạch Chí là dừng cái tội ác phe đảng coi thường dân.
And she said, stop it. Thank you.
Thank you. Phiên dịch rất là tốt. Xin cảm ơn. Thank you so much.
Đó là
Our
bằng
next
phát
speaker
biểu
is
của bà
Michael
Bùi Kim
Varengia.
Thành.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do better than that young lady or not. Let me start off. Item 5.2, the Westminster Community Foundation. I noticed that there was no public notices, no applications, no anything trying to get people to volunteer to become part of this group. Apparently, you didn't want anybody from out in the public actually coming in that you couldn't control, I take it. You more or less wanted your friends and your hangers-on as part of this community foundation. That's the only way I could take it, because there was nothing out there for anybody to apply for. Item 5.4, please adopt this for WAGs. These people do a fabulous job. My wife and I are very proud to work with them, getting the laundry and helping these folks out. They do a great job over there, and every day, sadly, they take in more and more pets that either run away or people are dumping in our city, and they're the ones who wind up having to take care of them. So I do hope you approve this. Item 6.2, what does that have to do with the city of Westminster complaining about Title 42 being extended? How is that going to directly affect this city and the shortage of funds and the mismanagement of the city? By sending a letter to U.S. representatives and looking at the administration that's currently in power, they're going to look at that and they're going to laugh and they're going to tear it up and throw it away. And it's going to be a waste of paper. I don't know whether it's just another grandstanding for the princess over here or what. But that's apparently the way it looks to a lot of people out in the community. Also, I want to congratulate you, Mayor, for actually signing some cover letters. That was very nice to see your signature on those. And I'm glad that you finally stepped up to the plate and took care of that. That's the way it should be. You're elected by the city at large. You're the voice of the city, whether it be for Sacramento or back in Washington, D.C. Basically, you're the man for the city. So I'm glad to see that you finally stepped up and you signed it instead of having somebody else write on there, oh yeah, by the way, I'm signing this for the city of Westminster. No, when you sign it, that means it's coming from the city and it's coming from the entire city council. And lastly, Amy, when this gentleman back here was speaking, not once did I see you look up and watch the man speak with his concerns. Not once. Thank you. Perfect
Đó là một cư
timing.
dân mà thường lên để
Our next speaker
lên
is
chức
Jazz
diện của
Cannon
bà
with Vets
Amy
for
West, và ông ta cũng nói về
NRF.org.
vấn đề về những di dân lậu mà trong cái điều khoản 42 vừa rồi vừa hết hạn để bảo vệ
Good
thành phố
evening, Your
Westminster.
Excellencies. My name is Jazz Cannon, and I'm an Afghan American. As we gather here today, we cannot ignore the dire situations that women in Afghanistan are facing under the terrorist Taliban regime. The return of the Taliban to power has been a devastating blow for women's rights. 2 years ago, when the U.S. soldiers were stationed in Afghanistan, we had more female members of the parliament than the United States Congress. But today, we have none. 2 years ago,
Đây là một người
we had
phụ nữ
millions of
người
women
gốc
and girls in
Afghanistan
schools.
mà
Today, we have no women in universities, and the girls' schools are shut down by the terrorist Taliban. 2 years ago, the terrorist Taliban invaded the capital of Afghanistan, and the world did nothing, and they remain silent. They took away women's rights, and the world just remained silent. They snatched away our
Cô
basic
đã nói về
human
vấn đề
rights.
quyền phụ nữ
And the
ở
world
Afghanistan
remains
vào 2 năm
silent.
trước thì khủng bố tấn công vào thành phố
The
của
Taliban called on
Afghanistan
their soldiers to target pro-American voices
mà thế
in
giới không lên
America.
tiếng về những việc đó
And
và
they
cũng như những cái quyền của phụ
even
nữ ở
then, the
người
world
Afghanistan
remains
ngay tại
silent.
đất nước Afghanistan. Chúng
Last
ta biết
week,
các nước
they
Afghanistan
sent
là
a
một nước
terrorist
Hồi
across the
giáo và
border,
phụ nữ chịu rất là
79
nhiều thiệt
miles
thòi.
away from here. And even then, except for a few brave voices, most of the world remains silent. Nelson Mandela's widow just announced that what's happening in Afghanistan is an apartheid. And even now, Washington, D.C. and United Nations remain just silent. But today, by declaring September 9 Ahmad Shah Massoud Day, this council and the city of Westminster has spoken. No more silence. Westminster has proved that the real America and the people of this great city stand for freedom, for equality, and for justice. Please know that Afghanistan, thank you.
Và hôm nay tôi muốn nói
Ahmad Shah
là thành
Massoud
phố
is the national
Westminster
hero
cũng
of
đồng
Afghanistan
lên
who resisted to
cùng cắt lên
protect the
tiếng
rights
nói
of all
để bảo
Afghans,
vệ
especially
tiếng
women
nói
and
của những người
children.
phụ nữ Afghanistan
And
đang
as we
chịu rất là nhiều
reflect
thiệt
on the
thòi.
current situation, the legacy of Massoud, we must continue to support the Afghan people, especially women and children. So in conclusion, let us honor the memory of Massoud by continuing to champion the values of liberty, democracy, and human rights.
Tình trạng
And let us
khủng bố
remember some of
mà
his
đất nước
final
Afghanistan
words,
đang chịu phải
end
và
quote. Whether or
những
not
người
I
phụ nữ
live,
và trẻ em là
the
những nạn
Afghan
nhân.
resistance will continue. On behalf of Legend and the entire team of Vets for NRF, and on behalf of the Massoud Foundation, I thank you. I would also like to specially thank Councilwoman Amy Fan West for not only defending women's rights here in their own
Your
city.
time is up.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just want, on behalf of the city staff and city council as well as, we want to make sure that you know that we always been with you. We're not silenced. And today, again, we will speak up with the proclamation to you later on.
Thank you very much. It's been our honor. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Robert Kemner with vetsfornrf.org.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and others, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. My name is Bob Kemner. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I was deployed twice in Afghanistan. And I don't live in California. I actually live in the East Coast. I live in North Carolina right now. But when I learned about the proclamation, I flew out here so that I could speak to you and express my appreciation. For 20 years, our military fought the Taliban. We won every battle that we had with the Taliban.
Đây là một người quân nhân sống ở North Carolina và không có sống tại thành phố Westminster.
Lost the war. They gave up Afghanistan to the
Hôm nay
Taliban
là cựu
terrorists.
chiến binh từng tham chiến tại
Since that day, the
đất nước
Taliban has
Afghanistan.
become a safe haven for terrorist groups that train within Afghanistan. It's a paradise for them because there's no one opposing them anymore, except a small group known as the National Resistance Front. The Taliban prints passports, and they send their terrorists overseas. Title 42 recently ended. We're seeing a much bigger influx of people crossing our border. And just last week, we had a Taliban terrorist on the FBI watch list with a Taliban-issued passport trying to cross the border. And it was less than 100
Nó
miles
nói
from
về
where we're
những
sitting
cái
today.
ngoài dạng di dân thì có những cái
By declaring
thành phần khủng bố
September
có
9th
thể
as Massoud Day, this city is taking a
vượt biên qua
stand
đường biên giới.
again alongside America's veterans and saying no to terrorism and yes to freedom. The proclamation gives hope to the freedom-loving people of Afghanistan and to their defenders, the National Resistance Front, led today by Ahmad Massoud, son of Ahmad Shah Massoud. On behalf of Legend, our organization, Vets for NRF, and the 800,000 American veterans of the Afghan war who want freedom for their brothers and sisters in Afghanistan, I'd like to express my appreciation to each of you for your support with this proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hôm nay nhân dân những người cựu chiến binh tham chiến tại Afghanistan, cảm ơn đã những cái có hành động để lên tiếng về
Hello, my name is Mark Nugent, U.S. Army Captain. That's for NRF from Irvine.
Không biết hôm nay là gì mà nói về Afghanistan cũng hơi bị nhiều á.
Members of Congress constantly claiming they will do whatever the veteran community wants. As a retired U.S. Army captain, I will tell you what the veterans of the Afghan war want to see right now. Since our withdrawal and abandonment of Afghanistan in August 2021, veterans have shown their unwavering support for the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan and their fight for freedom. For many American veterans, their service in Afghanistan was a deeply personal experience as we witnessed firsthand the courage and resilience of the Afghan people and formed lasting bonds with our Afghan partners. However, we also saw the Taliban terrorists' oppression, brutality, and violent killings of innocent women and children.
Đây là một
That is why we deny the
cựu
Taliban
chiến binh tham
and say
chiến
proudly
từng
we
tham
are
chiến
vets
tại
for NRF.
Afghanistan và ông đang lên tiếng về khi mà tham chiến thì ông đang
Many
chứng
lives have
kiến
been lost
những cái
for the fight for
lực lượng
freedom,
khủng bố
and we know
đã
our fallen brothers
đàn
would
áp
want us to
đánh đập
continue
dã man
just if
những
we
người
had
phụ
fallen
nữ
in
và
battle
trẻ em
ourselves.
ở Afghanistan.
This proclamation of September 9th as Ahmad Shah Massoud Day by the city of Westminster is so meaningful to myself and other veterans across the country. It sends a message of hope to the oppressed people of Afghanistan that they are not alone and that the real America stands with them. On behalf of Legend and thousands of other veterans, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the city of Westminster and Councilmember Amy Fan West for the Massoud Day proclamation.
Đây là những cựu giúp binh lên cũng cảm ơn
American veterans
Westminster đã đưa
and the
ra
Afghan
những
people alike
cái tuyên bố để bảo vệ
appreciate your support and solidarity.
tuyên bố rằng là cấp
We
để
continue the struggle
ủng
for a
hộ
free
và bảo vệ
Afghanistan,
những người dân
honoring the legacy
Afghanistan.
of Ahmad Shah Massoud and all of the Afghan and American soldiers who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark and the team, for being here and flying afar. So we appreciate your support.
Our next speaker is Hung Van Nguyen.
Kế tiếp là ông Hưng Đăng Nguyễn.
Good evening, Mayor and all council members. On behalf, my name is Hong Nguyen, the chairman of coalition of Vietnam veterans. I come here for asking for the section 3.6. In that day, we apply and we have sound system and tents, and around 300 people we've been gathering. So could you guys look at 3.6 page? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Westminster Watchdog Terry Raines.
Good evening. The Public Works Open House was great. Loved the check-in card stamped at each station, the goodies, and the great conversations with our hardworking Public Works staff. We appreciate you all. Item 3.7, weird. I was told we didn't have this agreement, but we
Đây là một cư dân của
do, and now we need to
Westminster và
renew
bà
it.
này
The
cũng
city
là một
attorney won't
người
objectively
lên tiếng
prosecute
trong
some
bộ ba gangster rất là trong bất kỳ cuộc họp nào bà này cũng
violators
lên
because
tiếng.
he's beholden to the Gang of Three for now. Item 5.2, council should not appoint all foundation members with no general recruitment to seek qualified applicants and zero transparency about your selection criteria and choices. This is not a city commission. This is an autonomous nonprofit foundation, but the Gang of Three will likely appoint their unqualified friends as usual. Item 5.3, the 30-year 121.8 million revenue projections are optimistic, but at least there is an annual minimum guaranteed to the city. Branded City substantially changed their proposal 2 months after submitting it at the request of the city. Is that standard procedure? Billboard placement should be done with as little negative impact as possible on the surrounding neighborhoods. Yes to item 5.4.
WAGS has done so much for this community. Item 6.1 is unnecessary. Why a new ordinance about what is not covered in the original one, singling out minors instead of just improving the definitions on the original one? Hey, what about bake sales, candy grams, snow cones, popcorn, ice cream, kids fundraise from home, all kinds of edibles? No, not cannabis edibles. Item 6.2, Amy, the hypocrite. You promote your own refugee story ad nauseum, but if Title 42 was around in the 80s, you might not even be here. It blocked migrants from applying legally to enter this country seeking asylum, but it did nothing to deter those not seeking asylum entering illegally. Biden's new rule deems migrants ineligible for asylum here if they don't first seek refuge in a country they pass through on the way, like Mexico, unless they secure an appointment through the CBP One app. If ineligible for asylum, they can be deported and barred from the U.S. for 5 years. If they try to re-enter again, they will face fines and jail time. Border Patrol is opening 2 new holding facilities. ICE is upping deportation flights. HHS, who cares for the unaccompanied migrant children, is increasing capacity. Homeland Security will deploy 1,000 more asylum officers, thousands more law enforcement and contract personnel and volunteers. Biden will veto H.R. 2 if it passes because it reduces humanitarian protections and lawful pathways critical to deterring unlawful entrance, and it prohibits programs like Uniting for Ukraine or Afghanistan. Yesterday, a bipartisan bill, Dignity Act 2023, was introduced. Amy, this is not a city issue. Stop your ignorant, grandstanding, partisan BS. No whereas with your name on it this time, but you want to sign the cover letter, quote, on behalf of the Westminster City Council. You are not authorized to sign anything on behalf of the council. Stop castrating the mayor. Stop wasting city resources. Christian, oh my God, you spelled border wrong in the 5th clause. Taking spelling lessons from Amy. I see. Council, you were elected to non-partisan seats. Stay the hell out of this divisive issue and focus on our city and make sure that we have local control over that archway proposal. Thank you.
Và bà Emily West không có thể ký đại diện cho tất cả trong thành phố, đại diện cho chúng tôi ở thành phố Westminster.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Lostenow. I live in Westminster, District 1. I'm here to respectfully request that you refrain from sending the resolution regarding Title 42 to President Biden or any other government official on behalf of the city. First and foremost, it's really important to recognize that national issues involve a very complex web of political and social and economic factors. They require comprehensive understanding, extensive research, and really nuanced decision-making. And for this reason, they're best handled at the federal level. Generally speaking, local city councils, while really, and I mean this, invaluable at addressing issues within their jurisdiction, often lack the necessary expertise and resources to navigate federal concerns adequately. Using city time to address national issues at the local level can lead to unintended consequences and also inefficiencies by diverting your focus and your resources toward national concerns. You're neglecting the pressing local matters that demand more immediate attention. And additionally, when you decide to take a position on national issues like immigration, there's the real potential to divide the community. Subjects like immigration often ignite passionate debates and polarization polarizing opinions among community members with differing perspectives. And as I stated previously, I firmly believe that your role as local officials lies in focusing on the matters that most directly affect your constituents. And I know that the logic is, well, it kind of affects us
internet đang
because we do live in California and criminals can come and this and that. But really what us residents are concerned about are the blight on Westminster Boulevard, public safety when we walk by some of the homeless encampments, infrastructure, and local economic development. By concentrating your effort on those areas,
cư dân này lên phát biểu và chia sẻ những cái vấn đề về chính trị xã hội mà mang tính liên bang thì để liên bang xử lý, còn những vấn đề về đông đồng bộ thành phố như vô gia cư hay là công an làm ở thành phố thì hội đồng thành phố nên chú tâm vào giải quyết những vấn đề đó, đặc biệt vấn đề về vô gia cư.
I kindly request that you refrain from sending any resolution to President Biden or any other government official on behalf of the city of Westminster. And I thank you for your time. And I trust that together we can continue to build a better Westminster for everybody. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lee Nguyen. Lee?
Good evening, everyone.
Đây là
Someone advised me
nhà
before,
báo Khải Đào.
I'll try my best from now on to be more courteous and professional and nice. And first off, I'd like
Tôi sẽ cố gắng chia sẻ mà một cách chuyên nghiệp nhất.
My support that I stand with all oppressed people or nations, and my prayers are with Afghanistan people,
tôi ở đây
Ukraine
cũng
people,
đứng
and
bên
all the
cạnh những
nations
người
that
dân
are still being
Afghanistan
oppressed.
vì chiến ở Afghanistan.
Back to our city.
Trở lại vấn đề của thành phố.
I'll try to be nice, but since it's concerned the welfare of our cities,
tôi cố gắng
and I've seen
ứng
so
xử
many
tốt, nhưng mà đối với những cái lợi ích
I
của thành
could
phố,
not agree with or could not support. So I hope you guys would understand.
có một số vấn đề tôi
Once in a while, I
không
would
ủng hộ
fly off the
mà
handle,
các
and of
ông
course,
có thể
cause
hiểu
you guys
điều
a lot
đó.
of trouble. But you know that's my right? And that's the main purpose of these oral communication, right? To start off, maybe I think
Để bắt
you
đầu,
know, why don't you guys just pass the ordinance and get rid of the oral communication in the first place, so you don't have to listen to us anymore. Because
sao
seems like you guys don't need to listen
mấy
to
ông
us,
không
right?
có để cái cuộc trao đổi này
Because,
lên phần đầu
hearing
cái
that
cuộc
someone's
nghị trình này.
Been preparing to sue you guys because you, Charlie, have been working with Frank Zhao for 2 years.
Sẽ có một số người sẽ kiện mấy ông vì ông thị trưởng Charlie Chiến Nguyễn làm việc cho ông Frank Zhao là ông chịu phát.
And according to the Register newspaper, they've been talking for 2 years. And according to one of the people in our community, he said that the city will foot all the bill. The city will pay.
Và cái ngày mà khai trương cái biển biển số 1975 á, thì ông Charlie Chiến Nguyễn đã nhân danh là thị trưởng thành phố đã gọi cảnh sát đến để bảo vệ trong cái buổi khai trương đó, mà lấy cái chi phí của thành phố Westminster, có nghĩa là lấy tiền dân ra để làm việc riêng. Và mấy ông sẽ bị kiện, thành phố Westminster sẽ bị kiện.
It only helped Mr. Frank Zhao. Because they built the parking structure on his property, his mall. Not only that, it will help him sell the apartment of the adjustment place apartments. They could not sell it because it has no parking space. Did you guys tell the people that what you guys gonna do?
Our next speaker, Lee.
So the mayor doesn't want to listen to us. Good evening, everyone here and those who are watching the show at home. Chúng tôi thấy rằng những gì Hội đồng thành phố bàn bạc, thảo luận trước khi bỏ phiếu thành luật là điều rất quan trọng. Không phải chuyện phím, bàn
cư dân
bên
thành phố
bàn cà phê.
Dạo này cô này cũng hay lên phát
Hay chuyện
biểu
ngồi lấy đôi mắt của những người
để
đàn bà rảnh rỗi nhiều chuyện.
chỉ trích bộ ba.
Vì vậy chỉ nên dự kiến
thị
trong
trưởng
nội
Trần Thị
bộ
Chí Nguyễn,
của
Phó
các
thị
thành viên trong
trưởng
Hội đồng
Nam
thành
Quang
phố
và bà
tuyệt
Amir
đối
Phan
không được
Quét.
để lộ ra ngoài cho phe đảng đồng bọn của mình âm mưu tìm cách chống đối. Quý vị lập phe lập đảng để trở thành đa số thì dĩ nhiên những người trong nhóm thiểu số không bao giờ có cơ hội để cất lên tiếng nói cho người
Đây là
dân.
một cư dân ở
Thì
Westminster
quý
và
vị
bà
còn sợ
chỉ
gì
trích việc
mà sai đồng chí của mình
tạo
tới đây
phe
để phản
nhóm
đối
trong
điều
thành
này.
phố Westminster. Trong đó chúng ta đã biết là trong
Anything being
đây
planned or
là những cái
discussed in a
bộ
closed
băng
session is
đảng
very
hoặc là
important. It's not some
của
trivial
gọi
or
là
amusing
Gia Gia
pastime
Trần Thế Văn
chat during
từ
a
trên xuống
coffee
dưới.
break or some gossip from an old woman's tale. Therefore, it should be kept within council chambers. Never will it leak to the outside world so that your comrades can secretly plan ahead to oppose it. You guys teamed up to be a majority gang, and then those from the minority will never have a chance to speak up for their constituents. Why were you so scared that you hired your comrades to come yell at your council rivals?
Chúng tôi không ủng hộ bất cứ nghị viên Việt Nam nào ở đây. Chúng tôi nhận thấy rằng trong những đồng chí của quý vị có một người rất trung thành. Người này miệt mài, tận tụy, có mặt trong tất cả các buổi họp của thành phố. Người này cũng được nhiều người trong cộng đồng tị nạn biết đến, nhất là khi ông ta có dính líu vào một vụ tai tiếng của một ngôi chùa trong vùng. Ông này không những chỉ là một Phật tử, mà hình như còn là một huynh trưởng của gia đình Phật tử để dìu dắt thế hệ trẻ, được các phụ huynh gửi tới chùa để học giáo lý nhà Phật.
Có thể đang
Chúng tôi không phải là Phật tử,
ông Tony
nhưng
Bùi.
chúng tôi biết rằng Đức Phật dạy chúng sinh từ bi hỷ xả. Người con Phật không được sân si, gây thù chuốc oán hay tạo ra những nghiệp chướng để rồi chính mình sẽ phải trả giá cho những việc làm đó.
First of all, we don't support any Vietnamese council members here. We notice that among your comrades, there's a very loyal one. This person is notoriously recognized in our community, especially when he was involved in a controversial dispute with a Buddhist temple. This old dude is not only a devout Buddhist disciple, but also a leader of some Buddhist youth organization at the temple. We're not pious, religious, and devoted followers, but we're pretty sure that Buddha's teaching were all about affection, forgiveness, and compassion, not aggression, hostility, or belligerence.
Ở tuổi này rồi, ông nghĩ cuộc đời của ông còn dài lắm sao? Tại sao ông không nghĩ đến một ngày không xa lắm, ông sẽ phải ngồi trên xe lăn cho một vị dưỡng lão nào đó? Đức Phật có dạy ông phải gây hấn tấn công một người không thù oán gì với ông, mà đó chỉ là một người đàn bà. Ông có thấy xấu hổ với con cháu của mình vì những việc làm hạ cấp này không? Có phải ông làm những việc vô đạo đức, vô lương tâm này để đánh đổi lấy một chức vụ trong thành phố mà ông mới nhận được không?
Mister, at this age, do you think you still have a very long life to enjoy? Just think of the future that you might be in a wheelchair or some nursing home. Did Buddha teach you to keep irritating and attacking someone who hasn't done anything to hurt
Kính thưa quý vị, anh Khải Đào là một
that
trong những
person
người
is just a
mà
woman.
đi đầu trong
Do you
việc
feel
đưa ra
shameful
bằng
to your
chứng cũng lên
children
án
by
những
conducting
dân
such
cử
immature and
như là
ridiculous
Nam Quang các
behavior?
bạn, nên
Did
chúng
you
ta phải
perform all
trân
these
trọng anh Khải Đào.
continuing unethical personal attacks as an exchange for a position you were recently granted in the city council?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tina Tapia.
My name is Tina, and I have made copies for each of you guys too as well. My name is Tina, and these are my boys. The medicine wheel has a different meaning for some, but for my family, it was a symbol of our turning point. When a door closes, another one opens. Our path will soon be taking shape. Right before we had moved, a couple weeks before Indigenous Day, I had made ribbon shirts to wear to school for my boys, to show pride, to educate others. We honored their shirts the same color as the medicine wheel. We knew the door was closing, and it was only fair to accept and learn to follow our path and give our respects and thanks to our bad years as making us learn as the good years we had with the city we leave behind. Before this pandemic happened, we had moved to Riverside back in December from OC due to school violence and corruption within the city. We had no other choice and decided to go to take our lives back, learning our history. Once we moved, it was difficult explaining to the school again that my boys' health was more important than their grades. I knew I wasn't getting anywhere with my boys, only got more frustrated with me. I picked up my boys from their new school and decided to drive the opposite way when I saw the Sherman Indian School Cemetery, less than a mile from their new school. A few days later, my husband and I took our boys there. We gave our thanks and prayers to the children who lost their lives just to go to school. These children have no other choice and were ripped from their families. I showed my boys this is why I wanted the best education for them. This is why I was upset at our school system. This is why I have been fighting for. After reading and doing our own research, we began to feel more important and more empowered about our history. We knew we had to come back to their Flower Day to show our respects once again, but this time we would be with gifts. On May 3rd, Flower Day, my family and I went to give our thanks to our children who died without their mommies and daddies by their side. A handmade garland medicine wheel is made. What we put up in front of the cemetery for the children and families that have been affected now and here. And now we hear your cries and you are not forgotten, nor will you ever be. I share with you my family history of these historical events that have been forgotten in today's world. Sherman Indian School was founded by the United States government to assimilate Native Americans into the mainstream society, upon which hundreds of Native American children ages 4 and up were removed from their homes and tribal culture, sent to these schools to be educated. Thank you. If you would like to read it, there's more education too for the city. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker and last speaker tonight, Mayor, is Tony Bui.
Bây giờ là phần phát biểu của ông Tony Bùi. Ông Tony Bùi là một cư dân Westminster và ông lên
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. I'm Tony Bui, a resident of Westminster for more than 22 years. I keep come up here to congratulate your group. The City of Westminster was awarded the excellencies of the economic plan and development, the mall, master plan for the mall, from the Orange County chapter of the American Planning Association. That is good news for the people that you all work together to make the master plan to improve the city of Westminster. However, I heard that our city was a little slow. I just presided a planning commissioner meeting in which a resident complaining it took him 3 years to get a hearing for a variance of the setback of a fence. So I hope that all of you have to modify the way you work, and if you need more help, get more help to expedite the work from the city. And now I would like to inform you that you have to be accountability, and that means in the past, some people advocate for Measure C, which cost the city more than $800,000. I would like to have the accountability of that cost to the city. And who had advocate for that is council member Kimberly Ho. You had make our city cost West more than $800,000. That is a really bad thing.
Ông Tony Bùi
So
lại tiếp tục
would like
chỉ trích và
you
cáo buộc bà Kim
to
Lee Hồ
help
đã
the
sử
people
dụng cái tiền ngân quỹ của thành phố Manchester
get
đến
the work
800.000
repay
Mỹ
for
Kim.
that cost because that is our money. And the last thing is trust. You have asked people to do the work. And then you did not. You complain that here is what has been done for the past. You told the people that you will resign if you are not elected as the mayor of
Trong một
city
cuộc
of
họp thì ông Tony
Westminster.
Bùi sẽ
But you
nhắc đi
keep
nhắc lại
saying
câu
that.
chuyện là
That
bà
is
Kim Lee Hồ
shameful
đã
for
từng tuyên
people
bố
who
là bà ta
lost the trust of the people of
sẽ
Westminster.
tự
So
động từ
I
chức nếu không
request you to resign.
trúng
Thank
cử
you very much
thị trưởng thành phố
for
Manchester thì bà từ chức.
listening to my
Thì trong những cái cuộc
complaining.
mà những cái bầu cử vậy, người ta sẽ tuyên bố
Mayor, we
để
have no
gây
further
gây sự
speakers.
tập trung của cư dân.
Thank
Và
you
hiện
very
tại bà
much.
Kim Lee Hồ cũng được sự ủng hộ của rất nhiều cư dân thành phố Manchester. Nhưng mà ông Tony Bùi sẽ trong mỗi cuộc họp với Manchester, ông ta sẽ nhắc lại chuyện này để tạo áp lực cho bà Kim Lee Hồ.
It was great because I've been doing it for the junior high and high school. Surprisingly, that I got, one of the interviewer, one of the students, come to me and said that,
Nghe bạn Trần Nguyễn, ông Tony Bùi sẽ nói đi nói lại cho đến ngày hết cái nhiệm kỳ này.
There's a lot of things that I want to ask you. And I said, today is not the day. Today is the day that you for exit interview. But then I have a chance to talk to him afterward. But I just want to let you know that we, the council, want to thank you all for coming out and express your opinions. But I want to make sure that the students
nãy bạn Danny hỏi tại sao những người trong thành phố không trả lời thì họ cho cư dân phát biểu hết, thì bây giờ ông Tránh Chính Nguyễn ông sẽ trả lời một lần.
The First Amendment that people have the right to speak.
Trong cái hiến pháp điều khoản số 1 thì cư dân có quyền tự do ngôn luận.
So I want to make sure that you understand that,
tôi muốn chắc là mọi người có quyền phát biểu và cũng tôn trọng những ý kiến cũng như là những trật tự.
Evaluate yourself or evaluate the people who are talking about the matters at the meeting. Now, like there's
Tại ông Tony, tại vì ông Tony Bùi là người cuối cùng mà lên phát biểu rồi bạn.
From Mr. Dow again.
Tony Bùi là người cuối cùng
I would like to see if I can invite the staff, either the city manager or assistant city manager, address about the structures and the project that we just talking about. What's the matter with that? What did we decide that last time?
Are you talking about the parking structure?
Yes, the parking structure.
Yeah, I can add a few things to that. At the last meeting, we presented an update on our strategic plan progress, and we had a request at our last strategic plan session to report back to you on the progress of a private property project that involved a parking structure, and that's what we did. A specific plan was conducted over 16 years ago in that area, and that study was funded by the city of Westminster to essentially increase economic vitality of Little Saigon, starting with the area around the Asian Garden Mall. That was done, like I said, probably 16 years ago. That project was funded by the city, and there was a viable concept of a parking structure. At that point, it really fell upon the hands of private sector to move those ideas forward. I would say over the last couple of, maybe 2 years, we've been approached by the private property owner at the counter as a private property project, and we've had subsequent conversations in which we've connected the private property owner with our staff
and our consultant team moving forward. At this time, to this date, there has been no city funding or city staff hours allocated to the project that have not been compensated by the private property owner. Is that a
Yeah,
good overview?
I want to thank you for clarifying that, because there is rumors out there, this and that, and you hear it from Mr. Dow, and I don't want to go further into this because it's not agendized, but this is very clear to the public and to those people who attend the meeting. Make sure that you learn the truth from, if you have any questions, if you're ever in doubt, call their city managers or city staff and ask for clarification. I would strongly encourage that. All right, so I would like to end the oral communication here, and we go right into consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered routine and may be approved by a single motion followed by a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the City Council or staff request that specific item be removed from the consent calendar for separate action or discussion. Do I have a motion or?
I move to approve.
I second it.
I'd like to pull item 3.2, the approval of proclamation.
I'd like to amend and pull item 3.2.
Second that amendment.
I pull item 3.2. I heard that there's somebody else pull that?
No, she amended her motion to pull 3.2 for you.
Okay.
Because there was already a motion, there was a motion by Councilmember Ho and then a second by Councilwoman Fan West.
Monzo.
By Councilmember Monzo, and so she just amended her motion
okay.
for you to
All
pull.
right.
So
Okay.
you're good,
So-
everyone's good.
Okay, so the motion to approve the rest of the items except for item 3.2.
Yes, Mayor. So I have a motion made by Councilmember Ho, a second by Councilmember Monzo to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 3.2. I'll go ahead and call roll.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fan West,
Yes.
Councilmember Monzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Ho,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen,
Yes.
and Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
5-0, motion passed.
Okay, item 3.2, the reason I pull is because normally the proclamation is to have the council approve before hand so that we can do the presentation to the agency or to the people. But this item here was not approved at the last meeting. So we would like to I would like to ask the council to approve this item so that we can move on and present it to those who are here today.
Move to approve item 3.2.
I second.
Okay, move to approve by
Bây giờ cái
Council
phần
Member
mà
Manzo
góp
and
ý của người dân đã
seconded
hết
by,
rồi. Và bây giờ là thành phố họp những cái điều thông qua và
So I have a
các
motion
vị
to
chính quyền
approve
sẽ họp
consent
với
calendar
các
item
nghị viên để thông qua
3.2
những
by
cái
Councilmember
điều khoản
Monzo,
mà
second by
họ cần
Councilwoman Fan West.
thông qua hay là từ chối.
I'll go ahead and
Ok,
call roll.
cả nhà thì cuộc họp hôm nay cơ bản thì cũng kết thúc rồi,
Councilwoman Fan
và
West?
đặc biệt
Yes.
là trong cuộc
Councilmember
họp
Monzo?
hôm nay có
Yes.
cái phần lễ
Councilmember
phát biểu
Ho?
của ông
Yes.
Andrew Rỗ.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Ông Andrew Rỗ là giám
And
sát
Mayor
viên
Nguyen.
của
Yes.
quận Cam
5-0
và
motion
đang
passed.
trình bày
At
một
this
cái dự
point
án
here,
là
I
xây cái
invite,
cổng ở một cái
the
cổng
member
tại
there,
Bolsa
to
với trị
come
giá trên
forward
1 triệu đô la
to the
Mỹ
podium,
Kim.
and as also
Và
I
đó
would
chắc
like to
chắn đây là
invite
một vấn đề
all
có
council
thể
members
gây
to
tranh
join
cãi
me to
trong
present
sắp
the
tới, vì có thể
proclamation.
đưa một cái dự án đưa ra thì nó tiền bạc rồi nó sẽ quyền lợi của phe nhóm rất là nhiều, cho nên nó cũng sẽ đụng chạm và chúng ta sẽ chắc chắn sẽ có những vấn đề. Và trong 2 tuần tới sẽ cuộc họp và có thể là lúc đó chúng ta nghe kèo ngọt sẽ ra, sẽ có những ý kiến cũng như là anh Chí Lâm nha. Rồi, cảm ơn cả nhà đã theo dõi chương trình vào hôm nay. Xin chào cả nhà, xin chào tạm biệt.
All right, thank you very much for flying in here. I know that it takes a lot of time for you, and a lot of effort for you to be here. But we are, like you said, we are not silenced. We are with you all the way, and today we prove it to you that we are not silenced by providing the proclamation to you, Masood Day, September 9, 2023. Whereas the city of Westminster honors the sacrifices of the late Ahmad Shah Massoud in protecting and defending the people of Afghanistan. And whereas Ahmad Shah Massoud, known as the Afghanistan Napoleon and the Lions of Panjshir, was a founding father of the resistance against the Soviet invasion in the 1980s, and then against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda in the 1980s.